Devotees may recall that for the end of these Halloween movie horror marathon review playlist things, I like to cap it off with a review from the Halloween series of films, though I have reviewed them before, but I want to revisit them each year. We'll talk about one in particular. This is the third year I've been doing this, which means, of course, the third movie in the series. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, much maligned sequel in the series. Of course, it has nothing to do with Michael Myers, the iconic killer from the first two movies at that point. In my review, which feels like 100 years ago, I reviewed this movie. I was not too kind to the movie, didn't really give it much of a positive outlook, basically. And the thing is, I mean, when I was doing that, I was trying to look at it from a perspective of, okay, look at the Halloween movies as a whole. Do you want to marathon them all? Do you want to watch them all? Are there ones you want to skip? I mean, this one, undoubtedly, you're going to skip if you want to get, like, a whole Halloween series thing. So in the context of the Halloween series, maybe not. And there's always kind of the debate. There'll be an unending debate of whether or not, if this movie hadn't had the title Halloween slapped on it and was just, say, called Season of the Witch, would it have been a more positively received movie? It's hard to say, and it's like, at a certain point, it's like, what the fuck does it matter? Probably more people see it, since it does have the Halloween brand on it, when otherwise maybe they would have, I don't know, avoided it or not heard about it and whatever. But I've watched it again a few times. Last year I bought, of course, the big box set, the Halloween series Blu-ray box set, and I did myself a little marathon of all the Halloween movies, and I did not skip this. I watched this. I watched the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray looks great, by the way. And just recently I watched it last night to get it fresh in my mind, to give it a fair shot. So I'll tell you right now, it's a watchable movie. It's not like, say, something like Halloween Resurrection, where I completely dread watching it. So if I end up doing this for 8 years, which I don't even know, I very much dread having to revisit Halloween Resurrection and talk about it because it's so painful to do. But this is a watchable movie, and I would say the plot is somewhat unique, I guess. I mean, you gotta somewhat appreciate the intent behind this, which is, okay, we've done 2 movies with Michael Myers. We're done with Michael Myers, but we have this franchise based around Halloween. So what else can we do? And then the possibilities are limitless. So this was kind of an experiment, though ultimately a failed experiment. Kind of like Coca-Cola. They're like, let's make the new Coca-Cola, and everyone hates it, and they're like, Coca-Cola Classic. It's the same with here. It's like, let's try something new. No Michael Myers. Let's bring back Michael Myers. Basically that. Centers around a toy company, Shamrock, whatever. Shamrock Toys or Silver Shamrock. Sorry. They make these masks. They make a wide variety of 3 masks for Halloween, and they have little chips in them, and once they play the commercial for Silver Shamrock, there's like a movie horror show, but then there's a giveaway, and they're supposed to kill the kids, and it's some ritualistic sacrifice to the gods because the planets have aligned, and the evil company brings Stonehenge into their little factory, their little, Bond villain lair, and it's up to some middle-aged mustachioed doctor to stop them. So I don't know. It's kind of a lame movie, I think. I mean, there's ideas there which I like, but I mean, I do think probably the biggest problem is just kind of the lead that they got in Tom Atkins. I mean, nothing against Tom Atkins, like specifically, he's a fine actor, but it's like you think about the first 2 movies. There's like a balance of older actor, younger actor, Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee, so you have like appeal to like 2 generations basically, which I think is one of the main appeals of that movie. So maybe if it's more youth centered, the horror movies, needless to say, are right off the bat. We don't have like a teenage character to follow through the movie. This middle-aged guy who looks like your uncle or something like. I think in my review, I wish I didn't say this, but I said, he looks like the kind of uncle that would touch you inappropriately, which, it's kind of stupid of me to say, but whatever. He kind of does. But the thing is, when you look at this movie, you kind of step back from it a little bit. It's almost like this middle-aged man fantasy of going on this sort of semi James Bond light adventure where he leaves his kind of boring life where his ex-wife is always on his case. He's always working. He has a drinking problem. He's not the most admirable character, and he follows this hot chick around, and goes on an adventure, and solves a mystery. And all right, so it's like this kind of silly thing, and like the whole kind of aspect to it where there's like the romance between them is more uncomfortable than anything else. It's like, the girl, she's off to find the reason why her father was murdered, and she's trying to find answers. He tags along. They pose as husband and wife. They go to the hotel in this little boxed off community, like a company town basically. Everyone who works for Silver Shamrocks works there. They go to the hotel, meted by like the most stereotypically Irish. He may as well have been a leprechaun, saying, "Oh, you can stay in me hotel all you want." It's ridiculous. But anyway, they're like talking about, "Oh, well, maybe I should get a separate room." "Oh, no, it'll look, suspicious, Mr. Doctor." And it's like, "Oh, well, how do we handle the sleeping situation? Do you want to sleep in the same bed?" "That's a stupid question, baby. Give me some sugar." And there's that. And it's really weird and uncomfortable. And, he has the courtesy to ask her, "How old are you?" after they have sex. So there's that. And it's just really stupid and cheesy. Like there's another part where we get the family who works for, the husband who works for Silver Shamrock, and his wife and his kid, his obnoxious kid, who's just like sugar-fueled brat, and another woman who's a store owner who has an order. She has to stay in the hotel. She's looking at one of the masks, and there's a good scene where like she's like looking at the little disc, right, and it has all the kind of chips in it or whatever, and then boom, it like rips open her face and shit, and that's pretty cool. But then it's like interrupted by the most ridiculous shit, like the doctor and the young hot lady, they're having sex in the hotel room. She's like, "What was that?" And he's like, "Shut up, I don't care, baby." And it's just so stupid. It is this kind of like, I don't know, middle-aged man fantasy sort of. I don't know. Maybe I'll appreciate the movie when I'm a little bit older. But it's just so ridiculous in that sense. We have a character that, we can't really give a shit about. And when he's going on his little, journey to stop this little like detective work, basically, it's like this is like the most pathetic like detective movie I've ever seen. Like they barely have a plan, they just kind of go with the flow, go to the factory, look at things. They're like, okay, and then the bad guy of the movie, Cochran, he's like a secondary kind of Bond villain, low-rent Bond villain. It's like, "Oh yes, it's Halloween time. I'm gonna kill all the fucking kids." So it's really stupid. And yeah, and like the plan doesn't even make sense. Like one movie I was talking about earlier was The Witches, which was, for what it was, had a good plan. I mean, like this the same sort of plan. Like a bad guy wants to kill a bunch of kids. The plan was to put a special potion in chocolate bars and turn the kids into mice, but give away the chocolate bars for free. So we have these masks, which we're supposed to just suspend our disbelief that these masks are just so in demand that there's fucking 3 of them. There's a pumpkin, there's a witch, and there's a skull. There's this whole elaborate factory, like completely devoted to manufacturing these 3 masks, and we're supposed to believe that all the kids are wearing them. It can go with anything. We see like they show like all across the country, all across the states, kids wearing them. Like see like people in hoods wearing like the witch mask, or like a girl in like a ballerina tutu but wearing the skull mask. So like it can go with anything, and all the kids love them, and they're going to watch TV and wear the mask because, yeah, obviously that's what you do. Because the commercial tells you to. So it's maybe like a, jab at consumerism and, kids not think for themselves, being slaves to the ads, which, I mean, especially in the 80s, I guess there's, some validity to that. But still, but yeah, anyway, the commercial's supposed to go on at exactly 9 p.m., what time zone, I don't know. Like, did they take into consideration the time zone? Like, this is a movie in California. That's the West Coast. So it would be, if it's 9 o'clock on the East Coast, it'd be like midnight. Are people gonna bring their kids up till midnight to watch this stupid thing? I don't know. I didn't really think. I'm sure other people have brought this up, but it doesn't make much sense. So they want to eliminate definitely the West Coast, at least. But they show like all these like clips of the kids, like Arizona, or Dayton, Idaho, or whatever the fuck. It's like, meanwhile, it's like it looks like California and all these locations. That's crazy. But yeah, and it comes like a race against the clock to stop the bad guy, and he sort of does, but sort of doesn't. There's robots in the movie, like there's robots. The girl becomes a robot at the end, but she still helps him. It's like, you were a fembot all along? I know it's stupid. It's a stupid movie. Like, I can see why some people may like it. It has certain appeals to it. It has good effects. Like, I will say it's ballsy in a lot of respects. Like, there's one scene where they like literally just like eviscerate the bratty kid with the family. Snakes are coming out, and his mother's like, "Oh God." It's good. I mean, there's good stuff to it, but I would say a movie as a whole, it's kind of silly. We have a character that he's kind of sketchy, kind of a dirty old man who wants to have this, cheap thrill with this younger lady who's the sexy 80s lady. There's robots, there's stupid masks. I mean, it's watchable, but it's not a particularly good movie. And I would say maybe if they had a better movie, maybe, just maybe, like the whole anthology idea would have worked out a little bit better. Because again, there's so many different ideas that you can bring towards setting a movie upon Halloween. So they could have done anything. They could have done a ghost story. Like, think about what if The Fog was Halloween 3. I don't know. Halloween 3, The Fog. I don't know, but I think about that. Well, I mean, you could argue, what if any horror movie was Halloween 3, and that's kind of the point, ultimately. But, I'm glad they kind of centered on Michael Myers to continue on in the fourth one, and ever since. So it's an experiment, but a failed one. You got the stupid masks here. For what it's worth, I think, Tommy Lee Wallace, competent director. It's a great-looking movie, actually. Dean Cundy, who did the first Halloween, I think he did two, too. Cinematography looks great. The music is great. John Carpenter did the music. It's really it's John Carpenter music. It's fucking awesome. So there's a lot to like about the movie. So I mean, in an overall context of, do you want to have a Halloween marathon, watch the best Halloween movies? No, this isn't going to be the best one. Do you want to enjoy a really great standalone horror movie? No, it's not going to be that either. But, I mean, you want something cheesy, disposable. I mean, I've seen a lot worse than Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I really have. So, I mean, take out of that whatever you will. I don't feel especially enthusiastic about the movie, but I don't hate it. I've never hated it. If in that previous review, if you've seen that long ago, many moons ago, I did that review. If in any way I kind of gave an idea that I hated it, I don't. But I just think it's kind of stupid. So there's that. So that's my review. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It's been the Season of the Witch for me on my channel. I've tried to do some sort of witch-themed movie reviews. So I had a lot of fun talking about some horror movies this year. It's the greatest time of the year. So this should be October 31st, Saturday, October 31st, that this is uploaded. I hope you're having a happy Halloween, and I thank you for watching. I hope to do it again next year and talk about the return of Michael Myers around this time next year. So as always, comment, rate, subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Don't have much planned ahead, but keep an eye out for my channel. And have a happy Halloween 2015. See you later.